Yep. Okay, brilliant. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay? Everyone can hear me okay?
Yep.
If you can't hear me, then there are the headsets that you can put on as well. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming today. Today we are doing a kind of conversation, a chat with one of our customers, Anglin Direct. I represent Algolia, and essentially we are a search and discovery platform that makes sure you kind of put the right products in front of the right users at the right time. And today we're going to be talking with Chris. We'll be talking about his experience with Algolia and how they optimize digital discovery to really enhance their e-commerce journey. And then we've got kind of Q&A at the end, so if there are any questions, then yeah, we'll kind of leave a bit of time for questions at the end. So yeah, we'll just kind of start off by introducing Chris. Can you tell us a bit more about kind of yourself, Chris?
Yep.
Kind of introduce yourself to everybody.
So I'm Chris Bullions. I'm e-commerce trading manager at Anglin Direct. I think my background, for those in the audience that birthdays start with a 5 and remember the sound of a dial-up modem, that's how long I've been in e-commerce. So there's probably not much I haven't seen, done or experienced. I think being a keen angler working at Anglin Direct is more than just a job, it's probably a hobby for me. And it just allows me to, I guess, combine my love of fishing with my skill set in e-commerce. It's as simple as that.
Brilliant. So could you just tell us a bit more about kind of Anglin Direct as a company, the kind of journey you've been on?
Yeah, so very humble beginnings. It started best part of 30 years ago with just the one shop. And over the course of time, it's grown exponentially. Digitally, we've been online for the last 13 years. We've gone through some very, very rapid periods of growth. And we now have 51 physical retail stores in the UK, as well as a digital presence that we are the biggest player in the UK now in terms of angling.
Brilliant. So yeah, it sounds like you've been doing kind of well as a business, and I've seen some growth over recent years, which is fantastic. I guess kind of diving specifically into kind of more search specific or discovery specific, do you mind just telling us a little bit around your past experience with search and some of the challenges that you faced as a business?
Yeah, so I think when we were going through a period of rapid growth about 7 years ago, like a lot of retailers, we were using the platform's native search function, which with 25,000 SKUs and 500 product classes, you just can't use it, you can't do it. So we started looking at what was about. We'd never used sort of search and merge tech before, so it was more a case of we wanted something easy to deploy, more importantly, easy for my team to use. As non-techies, they needed to be able to sort of build the functionality, but also more importantly to deliver search and browse results that our customers, as anglers, wanted to see. To filter 25,000 SKUs in an effective manner is something we couldn't have done manually.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think ultimately, like when you're trying to surface products to your users, it can be difficult to kind of manage that search experience, that discovery experience, to kind of put those products to the right users.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess when you were kind of looking at different providers and you're obviously kind of using Algolia, what's some of the things that you've found useful actually using Algolia, and tell us some ways you're actually using it and how it's enhancing the commerce experience today.
I mean the key thing for us was to let it do the heavy lifting, and one of the key features that has endlessly fascinated us is, and I know the word AI is used probably every second of the day at the moment, but is their re-ranking module. So it is actually re-ranking our category and search pages based on actual profile and user interaction. So it is based on clicks, views, sales. So it is delivering relevant results to what someone is actually searching and looking for. That's been particularly powerful. As I said earlier, the ease of implementation, the ease of use for my team to actually deploy these changes, and also the minimal amount of management time. So I've got one merchandiser on my team, 2 product listers, and we're probably spending between us 3-4 hours a week using Algolia, which to manage a portfolio of that size with the revenue we're doing is pretty good.
Sure. I think, ultimately it's around kind of getting the best out of a tool and making sure the team can manage it. Is it like a smallish team, a largish team? Like what does your kind of current team look like?
Yeah, so the trading team, which is sort of my domain, there's 9 of us, of which 3 are merchandising.
Yeah.
So it's not a full-time role. They do other things as well. So it is a great resource for us as a business in terms of, man hours, but also in terms of speed of deployment, speed of use.
Totally. And what sort of strategies do you deploy, to sort of different types of customers? And do you have any kind of tips or things that have worked well in terms of configuration on?
Yeah, so the important things is relevance. Again, there's no point manipulating any form of search or browse experience if it's not going to be relevant to what the customer's actually looking for.
Yeah.
We tend to steer clear of influencing brand or product type searches because we have a 10% of our customer base that actually knows what it is they are looking for.
Yeah.
But we have this 80% of customers that can be influenced that, by pinning or boosting high margin product, ranges, portfolios of product, we can actually, I'm going to be careful what I say here, but we can manipulate the searches and subsequently the results. But fundamentally, it's got to be relevant to what the customer's looking for.
Yeah, so do you kind of, push kind of different types of products like high margin? Do you have strategies around, obviously, 25,000 SKUs, there's lots of different types of products that you can be kind of putting in front of the customer?
Yeah, so again, we have the option to boost our own house brands, which are particularly high margin. But again, it is relevant, so it's relevance in category, relevance in search, and we do the same with supplier-led campaigns. So if we have particular products that either has exceptionally high margin or potential high search volume, then we can pin and place that product on the site. And I think it's fair to say for the first time in a lot of years, we are actually able to transact on certain pages in certain places, so the information that this has given us to lever sales and revenue, it's worked.
Yeah, no, that's really useful. And I know we spoke about, you've obviously been a customer of mine worked with you a number of years now. Yeah. I know we speak a lot about like analytics and tracking the data. I guess, can you kind of tell the crowd a little bit more around how you use your current analytics, your current data to then, I guess, feed back into the platform? Do you do any of that, and what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, so again, I guess there's pros and cons with this, because the more popular a product becomes with the re-ranking, it will sell more and become more popular, so it's a bit of a catch-22 situation. It does, however, allow us to identify trends, particularly in re-ranking, that ordinarily we perhaps wouldn't have seen. The pinning of products is particularly useful. That really does work for us. Yeah. So we will use that data in a way that is beneficial to our business in terms of what we want to do.
So it's almost that kind of feedback loop in terms of understanding what's working, tracking the analytics with the e-com team, then feeding that back into your actual strategy to make sure that you're promoting the right products at the right time.
Yeah.
So no, that makes sense. And I guess in terms of numbers, Chris, has there been kind of any numbers that you've kind of seen using the platform? I know that's kind of, everyone's always interested in hearing a bit about that.
What numbers do you want, Amir?
Anything in terms of kind of KPIs?
I think one of the key things, and particularly with search, is that we've seen probably a 4-fold increase in conversion rate for search versus browse. IPV, ATV, consistently high. That's probably the only numbers I'm going to share with you.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I think, typically we kind of find a lot of customers who are searching have a higher conversion rate than non-searchers. So optimizing that certainly makes sense. I guess, it would be kind of interesting, I guess, as we kind of finish up, I suppose, to understand a little bit more around, what's next? What are you guys thinking about, next in your e-commerce journey, and where do you see this really going?
So I think the big thing for us over the next sort of 12, 18 months, we recently rolled out Algolia Recommends, which has been a recommend engine for sort of also bought and recommended also boughts. That seems to have worked really, really well, and again, it's a very natural selection, and we'll be expanding upon that in terms of what we do in category and product class pages. But the big thing for us, the next step, is personalization. So this will be true personalization in terms of what we are offering our front-end customers in terms of an experience will be based on their own behavior interacting with us.
Yeah.
And that will then follow through all lines of communication as well as actually on the website.
Yeah.
So that really is the big one for us next year.
I know that we were kind of talking about, how different parts of the platforms can kind of integrate. I know you use, other email kind of solutions. Are you thinking around like personalization? Of course, you've got it on search and discovery, but what about how that integrates into kind of other parts of the business?
Well, that really is what we want to look at. So effectively, we want continuity in every touch point. So whether that be an email, a push notification, an in-store experience, or an online digital experience, we want that personalized. So we want to feel that we are talking directly to our customers and showing them what it is they want to see.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So yeah, really just kind of harnessing all the different solutions to try and make that kind of unified customer experience depending on where they're going. So yeah, I think that's kind of most of the questions kind of from our side. And obviously, we've got a decent sized audience here. Is there any specific questions that the crowd have or would like to ask Chris himself? Kind of open it up to the floor. Nice.
Hiya. Quick question. Does this work across all of your platforms? So the My AD app, as well as obviously desktop and mobile as well as a tool?
Yeah, so effectively our websites are run off Magento, so we've got 2 instances, 1 for the UK and 4 for Europe. So the sites are optimised primarily for mobile, and then desktop is almost secondary. So the indexes that are built within Algolia are shared across all aspects, whether that be our app, whether that be a mobile device or a desktop platform. So it is every category and every search configuration across the 3.
Great, thanks. And does it, sorry, I've got another question now. Does it, when someone's logged into their account as well, is that memorizing searches from that person? So it's always going to be constantly improving the
Yeah,
search
so
results
I think this is where we're kind of trying to take it with Chris really for the next year, because we've got elements of personalization where essentially what we can do is understand customer affinities towards certain types of products, the categories of products, whatever it is that you want to kind of personalize on. We can then use those affinities that we've learned from past behavior, like clicks or conversions, what they're buying, to then really re-rank kind of products based on past affinities. So yeah, I think kind of from an angling perspective, they obviously have kind of a My AD, which is kind of like loyal kind of following, if you will, and you can actually personalize based on different types of customers as well. So yeah.
I think, sorry, yeah, so a lot of what we've done within our industry, it's quite discipline orientated, so it would be a type of fishing or type of angling that we traditionally have segmented. Where we've hit problems, and this is where Algolia does sort of kick in, is where possibly you have a customer that fishes more than one discipline, so in which case what then becomes the segment that you are personalizing for that customer. So we very much see it as becoming completely fluid in terms of the products that we're pushing in that would be based on that customer's interaction with us. So,
thank you very much.
That's right.
Cheers. Any other questions or kind of anything from the crowd?
Yeah, Just in terms of personalization, how does that work with the cookie policy if users aren't opting in to share their data based on like what they've looked at or how they've interacted with the site previously? Is there a different experience they get served, or how does that work?
Yeah, good question. So in terms of kind of personalization, it relies kind of on cookies somewhat. Those are first-party cookies. Where personalization is going is we've got kind of things that are coming around no-party cookies. So there's stuff that we're doing there. But essentially, what we can also do in terms of, which Chris was talking about, which is called re-ranking, is we can use the wisdom of the crowd to actually re-rank products. So for example, you know, if a lot of people are clicking on, you know, this fishing rod or this tackle, or a lot of people are purchasing this type of product, that we can actually leverage machine learning and AI to kind of re-rank those products even without a user profile assigned to it. So if there's kind of no user profile, there is actually a fallback to kind of the re-ranking. So yeah, there's two elements to that. Wisdom of the crowd, kind of your whole customer base, and then specific one-to-one personalization.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Cool. Well, yeah, thank you very much, everybody. It's been a kind of pleasure to have you. Yeah, we've got our stand, K10 is the Algolia stand. I think Chris should be around there as well. So if you wanted to ask him any questions directly, you know, Chris should be kind of dotting around, and yeah, we'll be around if you have any questions. But thank you for stepping in.
Thank you.
Cheers.